Thank you, Oprah, for sponsoring today's video.
Yo, check this out. I'm back to being an Apple fanboy. Yeah, no. But yo, the amount of people that get triggered with those titles, guys, it's just a phone. No, but I feel you. These Apple fanboys will never know what they're missing out on.
Check this out, okay? I'm about to show you the most effective Samsung S25 Ultra setup. The whole point of this video is to allow you to traverse and just be efficient with your UI. I'm going to go through my day one starter pack, some performance enhancements, feature enhancements, my own stock UI customization, stock for the most part. My goal here is not to bloat your phone. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is for you guys to take advantage of that phone because I know you paid a lot of money for it. And the first thing I like doing is I like installing the Gboard. Honestly, I just feel like it's overall a more customizable keyboard. Spell checker is better. It properly predicts my next word based on previous sentences I've written, and it's smart enough at isolating email addresses within paragraphs. I really like that. It's also great at suggesting recent screenshots I've taken for pasting. Small little shortcuts like backspace swipe is so good. Add to that the ability to traverse letters with the spacebar as well, and being able to highlight words with double tap and then you can capitalize them with shift. That's cool. I think this is overall almost the best keyboard out there. Plus, I feel like typing in other languages delivers a better experience. From there, right away, I turn off my adaptive brightness and turn on my extra brightness. I also go into details and adjust the screen resolution to QHD+, and then I set the screen mode to vivid. This is the best way to fully take advantage of this nice display. Now, if you swipe down to access control settings, I suggest editing the available buttons in order to add the extra dim function. With this thing being set up, I do like to move the sound and I enable Dolby Atmos. You can go to settings, sounds and vibrations, and then click on sound quality and effects. I suggest setting it to movies only because it does make music sound kind of like unnatural. Another thing I do suggest when it comes to the Play Store is to go to its settings and try to set it to never update apps on mobile data. It's on by default, so just set it to update over Wi-Fi only. Next, search up device care, open the app, and set the performance profile to light. This honestly has no effect in performance, but I've been told it has an effect on battery life. Then within the same app, go to memory and turn off RAM+. You actually don't need this. In fact, I've been searching on Reddit and I've found people having better benchmarking numbers with it off. With this, you can go to the digital well-being app, click on settings and deny usage data for this. And I also suggest you set up your private DNS to AdGuard DNS. This usually blocks ads system-wide. It also prevents tracking and malware. It also makes your internet speed a tiny bit faster. One thing I will say though about this is that, you know, when you go on Google and then you have like the first freaking 5 results are all sponsored, if you click on those, it won't work because it just blocks the ads. By the way, you can search all of these settings. So here you can just type private DNS, and here you can click on it and set a private DNS provider. If you want to use AdGuard, you can type dns.adguard-dns.com. It should work, and if it doesn't, you'll get a notification. The last few things live in advanced features, and here you just need to tweak a couple of things. The first one is set video brightness to bright, and the second thing is to tweak your side button for your preferred wallet when double pressing it. It just makes it super easy and quick to pay at stores. And then your long press, you can set that to power off menu. If you ever need to restart your phone, with literally one press, you can do so. So this is the starter pack I recommend. If you have a laptop, you can also use Phone Link to connect your phone. I do it within my G14. It works actually super well. Whether it's transferring pictures, entering texts, emulating your phone, you can do quite a lot with Phone Link. I'm actually a month into my G14 ownership after I've replaced my MacBook. I've got a review coming in a few weeks and I'll make a 6-month review. As my daily laptop with all of the same softwares I have installed within my custom PC, including some coding tools and a few new browsers I've been playing with like Opera Air. Opera Air is set to be a desktop browser designed to promote calmness and focus while browsing. So look, I'm a coding monkey. Whenever I have time to code, I find this to be a cool approach to help out with problem solving and troubleshooting. And of course, it's got a developer tools with Control-Shift-I. It also has the ability to import all of your bookmarks and information from other browsers. So for me, it was super easy and quick to get up and running. Like I said, their goal is to deliver some free mindfulness tools to help you stay productive and reduce stress, which is why you have a really nicely done minimalistic and distraction-free interface, built-in tools for relaxation and focus, and Opera's advanced technology in a mindful setup. The browser is really clean and clutter-free. I love the UI. It's got some cool settings including private and security settings. The toolbar is super handy, and it's got a bunch of ways to make browsing efficient with different workspaces and extensions. So check this out. With Control B, you can access boost feature and about 20 plus binaural beats and lo-fi music for relaxation and creativity. These can be played and paused at any time during your browsing experience. For example, I love the analytics thinking soundscape while coding. Then with Control K, you can access the take a break feature. If you are anything like me while coding and you spend hours sitting there while time flies by, Opera Era allows you to set break reminders. This feature includes exercises like guided breathing, neck exercises, meditation, and full body scans. Like, let's say you've been coding for a while, trying to problem solve and copy paste some code from Stack Overflow. You can perform some of these exercises. I actually really like the neck exercises. They are always nice, especially when seated at a desk for a long time. If you are more into body scans to help you focus on getting back in touch with both your mind and body, or even breathing exercises to help reduce stress and blood pressure, that also can all be explored. And at browser startup, you can always check out some motivational quotes to get you going while working. OpenAir really allows you to create the best environment you can for your browsing and work needs. If you guys want to try it out and make it part of your whole setup, I'll leave a link down below to download it. When it comes to performance enhancements, it all starts by enabling developer options. This is very quickly done if you go to About Phone, Software Information, and then tap the build number 10 times. You can easily search for developer options, and that will be used to tweak your animation scales. Set all of those to 0.5x. It'll make your phone feel like it's snappier and faster. And then faster fingerprint is also a thing. I didn't believe it at first, but I discovered this last week actually, because for some reason mine was being a bit slow. The way to do this is to get rid of all your current existing fingerprints and rescan them. But then when you do that, you need to make sure you use both your thumbs. I know it's kind of weird. You got to do it like one at the time to rescan your fingers. For some odd reason, this makes it so much faster. I don't understand why, but it works. Another way to enhance performance is to use dark mode. Dark mode puts less strain on the pixels over time, and AMOLED screens save more power when the pixels aren't as bright. The savings aren't too crazy. We're talking about like 10% at most, really. If you want to save a bit more battery life though, I really suggest you take a look at your Galaxy AI features and you decide which ones you want to keep on and which ones you want to keep off. For example, within the Galaxy AI setting, you can turn a bunch of these off, really. Out of all of this, to be honest, I use Writing Assist and Call Assist the most. I don't even use the now brief setting, really. The last thing, okay, I suggest is using the navigation bar swipe gestures. This doesn't make your phone faster, but it makes you faster. In my opinion, learning all the gestures this phone has to deliver is the best way to make your workflow super effective. Especially when you download an app like GoodLock and then you download a widget called One Hand Operation Plus. So GoodLock, it's an app you download within the Samsung store. Think of it as an app with a bunch of plugins, one of them being One Hand Operation Plus. Enabling this, okay, will take over the stock navigation bar, But what's cool here is that you can modify it. I like setting this up on the right handle the most, mainly because I use my phone one-handed a lot and it's mainly my right hand. Now if you enable long swipe, you can set the most common things you usually access with one hand. I use my calculator a lot, so my diagonal up swipe is that, and then the diagonal down swipe allows me to access my quick tools with simply one hand. You can literally modify all the quick tools you need in here. It's so freaking clutch. This even allows you to lower your brightness with one hand. I do suggest two things though. Make the bars thicker enough to have proper accessibility, and turn off the feature when the S Pen is active. In gesture settings, however, I typically don't do much other than lowering the duration of the swipe, just so I can pop these quicker. Now the same app has a bunch of other plugins. I'm talking about GoodLock. The number one I recommend is Sound Assistant. Download this and then turn the customized panel on. Then go in individual app volumes and choose what apps you want to change volumes individually. These are the apps I have set to be able to control them individually, but I also have multi-sound enabled to let all apps play their sounds at the same time.
So sometimes I vary which apps I want to use, but I most often use Spotify to play along something else. So for example, if I go here, play a Joe Rogan podcast, and then something like this, it just plays on top of it. So that works. But if I go and choose all apps, play Joe Rogan, it just stops. So I don't get why it does that.
Then Register is another plugin I use. I keep it super simple here just because I like using the back tap actions. I have mine set to double tap to open my office alarm app, and then triple tap for a simple screenshot. The last one I use to enhance my user experience is Multi-Star. A few quick things you can do in here. Within Samsung Dex, enable high resolutions for external display and enable run many apps at the same time. I also like to use Multi-Star to remove the blur effect on adjusting a view. I just find this kind of annoying. That and the fact that the pop-up view can minimize by themselves if you don't toggle this. All of this brings me to my next point, multitasking. Use it, okay? But the only way you can properly use this is by setting it up properly. The first thing is to go in advanced features. In there, head to multi-windows and you need to toggle the first two options. This will do two things, okay? With two fingers, you can swipe for multitasking, and with one finger, you can drag the corner of an app to make it float. This is so sick because you can resize it, hide it, and literally close it. This is how you get YouTube Premium without YouTube Premium. You can do a few things as well within its tab bar, but if you decide to multitask, the crazy thing about Samsung is that you can keep stacking apps. From here, you can drag a notification and make that app pop, then use your Edge panel to add another app to the stack. You can also use your Edge panel to tap on an app and it'll replace the current multi-view app in use. You just gotta make sure that within its settings, you check the tap checkbox. I think the Edge panel is just like super underrated. I did set up mine with like the bare minimum Galaxy AI options, and I also added the apps I multitask with the most, but most importantly, I added the tools to be the main feature of my Edge panels. You can swipe between these two views to choose your preferred view, but I love this one as it delivers a few tools I like using for our makeover episodes. And if you haven't already noticed, check out how big my Edge panel handle is. That's because I changed that within the advanced features settings. At this point, you should have a super usable setup, but there are a couple of things I'd like to recommend, especially with the camera, some quick point and shoot settings, and you should replace the native file system app. Look, don't get me wrong, okay, the native file system is really good, but I found an app called File Manager that just allows me to load things quicker. For example, traversing a local server file system on my phone with this app feels so much more snappier, and when it comes to transferring files into different locations, it can remember previous locations that you've used so you can quickly access those again. The native file system doesn't do that, so this for me just cuts time. And then comes the camera settings. First, download Camera Assistant. To access it, there's a multitude of ways, but you can do it through the camera app. I recommend enabling your zoom shortcuts here, turn off auto lens switching, turn on prioritize focus over speed, set picture softening to medium, and set the camera timeout for recording to 10 minutes. If you get out of here, I also recommend you go in advanced picture options and enable both RAW and JPEG formats. This will take a bit of room on your phone, but you'll always have RAW pictures just in case you wish to make them look better. Then in advanced video options, make sure HEVC is enabled and that log is also enabled in case you want to shoot log. Log, it looks okay on this phone. I've seen better, but it's still very usable and fun to use. What's funner though is making this phone look super nice by customizing it. Now, my personal UI customization is very functional based, and what I mean by that is that yes, I use Home Up, which is a GoodLock app, but I don't use it in the way that people have been showcasing it with the DIY screen. The main thing I like here is the Finder access. It just cuts like so much time for me. That simple swipe down to start typing right away is so good. From here, I also have the pop-up folder enabled. This creates a simple pop-up folder animation in UI, quick and just simple to access. When it comes to other things such as task changer, gesture settings, and edge panel, I don't really use them at the moment, but I do use Share Manager. Share Manager allows me to add favorite direct shares. I often share the same stuff to the same people, so I just like to have them handy for whenever I want to share something with them. And then comes customizing the actual look of this phone. It's super stock because I like using all year's wallpapers. For the lock screen, I've got these font settings going on. I also love having widgets like the battery status and weather. Then my preferred app within the lock screen on the bottom left is my August lock. I've got a bunch of these, so I like having it handy. And usually on the other side, I like to have the camera. Then comes the home screen. For the wallpapers and styles, I use the smart color palette feature and apply the palette to app icons. It's really that simple. I've got no themes going on. I do have some widgets. I love having the Google clock in my home screen to set alarms quickly, the Google search bar, and then the weather app. Everything else really lives well compartmentalized within the app drawer, an app drawer that is organized in a custom order. This is pretty much it. This is like the most effective S25 Ultra setup I've been able to have, I guess. There's no BS, no bloatware, not a bunch of apps doing a bunch of nonsense, no custom launchers. It's just stock one UI for the most part. There's of course ways to make this setup better, but I feel like this is a great way to start your journey and build on top of it. I do like keeping it simple, so yeah. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, subscribe to the channel. I figured that having this video go live with the day in the life was probably the best idea. Anyways, I guess I'll see you all next Sunday. Take care, fam, and enjoy your week.